Drinking my broth, ready to spend some good, cozy time with all of you. And just so you know, even though we're going to be going over different modalities in this training program, this ain't your mama's Reiki. You know that saying, like, this is not your mama's whatever, whatever. This ain't your mama's Reiki training, okay? Because I'm still going to be weaving all of my things that I want to share, things that come up, things that are relevant to us as healers into the program. So, what are you savoring in this new year? As I'm sipping on my broth and I just had sun codes, I'm savoring more and more getting that sunrise light in my eyes and on my body, no matter what the weather is, no matter how cold. And I'm also deepening into and appreciating how much my body loves that shock and discomfort of the cold, how much my endorphins rush and my energy just shifts and changes once I do that cold shower. So next step for me is going to be the ice bath. We got one at Christmas, but it's just been sitting there looking at me so far. I have not done it. But I'm savoring things that used to be not the norm. Like opening that door when it's cold, opening the glass door and getting those sunrise beams, those light rays into my eyes in order for my DNA to be activated. Used to, when it was that cold, I would say, Kona, we'll walk later when it warms up. Now I'm just like, wrap a blanket around myself, grab my coffee or my broth, open up the glass because you got to open the glass. It doesn't work if you have these on. It doesn't work if it's like the car window, but even just like if you're in the car and get to a great sunrise point and then roll the window down. There's a girl that I love to follow on Instagram. I think it's Carrie September, Carrie with a K, Kerry, September. She works out with her windows open so that she can be efficient with her time, get two things done, get the sunrise light codes, which is your energy healing, that is your energy work, and she's working out at the same time. So, time management, efficiency, I'm always into that. So those are some of the things I've been savoring. I've been really savoring making breakfast for the people that I love, my boys, all three of them. I've got one four-legged and two legs in the house, but making them nourishing meals in the morning before they get going is just such an act of love that I really enjoy doing. And I think about how that's changed through my time of parenthood. And used to, I was just like I had a kid that would fight me on eating anything healthy, and I had to pack a lunch that he would actually eat, and it was just a chore. And now here he is at 17, really wanting to nourish his body. And so I'm into it. I have that sacral engagement as a manifesting generator in doing that act of making the breakfast. And I want you tuning into where you're lit up in the action steps of your day, because that's what takes everything from the mundane, from the chore and the burden to, I love doing this. This is infusing me with energy and it's building momentum for me to do more. So, those are some of the things. And another one that's really, really lighting me up lately is natural fibers on my skin. We were talking about that last night in the Beyond Reiki training. It used to be one of those things like not having a glass of wine to raise my vibration before I would do energy healing. Used to be wearing the natural fiber clothing was like a prep for being there for someone else. Now it's for me. I don't want synthetic toxic chemicals on my skin. I don't want that, especially on your most delicate parts. Isn't it crazy that like the underwear is what has all the yucky stuff in it? And so I told everybody that asked me, in the family, like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, you know what I'm doing? I'm doing a total closet overhaul. And what I need the most of is like sports bras, underwear. And I have them now that like they actually feel good um on my body. And that's a pretty exciting change. So, what kind of changes are taking place within you? I'm going to leave a YouTube video about the energetic forecast that has taken place since January 1st. And y'all know people will be like, it's not the new year. But actually, this one, we had a lot of momentum and potential here. There are so many things happening with Mother Earth and the planetary systems that we can really utilize right now. Our psychic abilities are coming more online. You're able to astral travel. You're able to do so much more. So pay attention. Just pay attention to your dreams right now and pay attention to how you're feeling. Um, Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is your empath skills. You are definitely an empath if you find yourself in this program. And what I want this program to be for you is every time you make the decision to carve out the time to come on and be with me, it's going to be worth your while. I'm going to infuse you with support, encouragement, empowerment. That's what this is for. To me, all the planetary changes that have just taken place are the upgrade of the empath. And here's my own personal situation that I can tell you about. There's someone in our life close to my family that we've been dealing with having addiction issues. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot of prayer around that. It's been a lot of pressure. How do you help when someone's self-destructing? I remember my situation with my dad when my dad was in a self-destructive situation and I was trying to get him some help. I remember how empathically it affected me. And here's the difference that I see coming online for us now as we gain in our abilities and we refine and elevate the way that we help. Now we have more of a capacity. We have more of a container to help without being worse for the wear. And that can, even if you've been really rolling around in everybody's pain and suffering with them for a long time, this can feel cold or like non-compassionate, but it's not. Your container, your vessel has just gotten bigger to be able to handle it and not let it take you down. So for those of you that feel everything so intensely that everybody else is going through, if there was a time in your life that you just couldn't overcome that, like you couldn't get back to your default setting, your baseline frequency because somebody else is going through something, you might see a change in that where you can stay at a baseline frequency that allows you to go about your day and do the things that you need to do and be functional and be successful, even though somebody else is going through something really, really difficult. And because of that, I want to tell you like a little altar story because altars are huge in my shamanic practice. If you've trained with me in shamanic healing, you know that the altar is alive when you tend to it, when you add power objects to it, when you clean it, when you assign intention to certain beautiful objects on the altar, you bring life to it. And the altar becomes a battery for the earth. So, like, say during this month, like my altar will shift a bit to bring some of the Reiki objects in, like lapis lazuli is a Reiki stone, the medicine Buddha, a photo of the medicine Buddha. I'll even put pictures of Mikao Usui, Hayashi, and Miss Takata on my altar to say, you are invited. You are invited. Like if there's somebody that I'm praying for, If there's something that I want to manifest, it goes on my altar, or at least a symbol of it goes on my altar. Oh, and speaking of ritual, did any of you do the saltwater ritual? It's incredibly powerful. Cannot recommend it enough. Saltwater. Write your name in saltwater, put it under your bed. Gosh, I love broth. It's so good. So, in terms of that, altars are very prominent in my life. An altar for whatever I'm working on. I have altars all over the place. I have an animal totem altar in my house. I have my like one main go to most important altar, and then I have a dream time altar. So they're like all over. I have a water altar. So yeah, there's a lot going on here in my house in terms of worship spaces and connection spaces. But the one that I've never participated in is the altar at my husband's church. And I always think that it's beautiful when I watch people walk up during the altar call and they walk up there and pray. And I think that that's beautiful. But it's like not my way, not my style. But what I was talking to myself about with it this Sunday when I was at church with my husband, I was like, yeah, but it's a power move. It's still very shamanic to walk up to that altar, to get down on your knees and pray with a lot of other people too. How powerful is that? That builds mana, that builds chi, and it tells the universe, it tells God, it tells everybody witnessing it, this is important. Like whatever you're setting an intention for is important. So, this particular family situation that we've been going through with addiction um, needed to be placed on that altar. I could feel it. I could feel it. And it was like interesting to be back in that newbie place. And it makes me think about anyone who's never done like a shamanic act, an inspired act of empowerment, how important that is that we feel the feeling of the discomfort and we do it. We do it anyway. So I did. I went up there and it was a beautiful experience because everyone that's kneeling at this like cushioned, padded altar space where everybody's like got their elbows up and their head down and they're praying, and a lot of them are praying out loud. The music was so loud, I couldn't hear the words of any of their prayers, but their prayers were swirling around my ears like the affirmation bath that Louise Hay teaches. It was so beautiful because the frequency of it was so lifting. I felt like all of our energy was lifting higher and higher and higher. And I squeezed into the only spot next to this young father and a little boy. And I also felt totally connected to them and was just so in love in that moment, was so, so in love, and could easily give what I had been carrying and feeling yucky about and feeling frustrated and feeling like, am I doing enough? Like, how do I help? How do I move forward with this? How do I be strong? How do I be the lighthouse for someone who is in a really dark, destructive place? I gave it. I gave it to that altar. And I suggest that each of you do that with your clients. Once you've worked with a client, my process is in a salt bath that night. At the end of the day, after I don't have any more clients, I give them all to God on an altar of light. And I place every single client back. And so it's sort of the completion of the beginning of my process is when the work begins, is really when we've decided and we've agreed that we're going to do the session. So, ever how far out we had to book it, the work has begun when the two people are in agreement that they want to come together for this specific purpose and this intention. That's when the work starts. From that point, I'm holding them in my awareness in meditation and prayer in that morning, the morning of the session to come. But what I notice is like time does not work that way with distance energy healing sessions. So it's like way, way, way before that. If they've booked further out, things start to unfold, awarenesses and aha moments. So you can kind of educate your client that when you're doing energy work, it's not just one and done like that 90 minutes of that session or the hour or however you structure your sessions to be. I tell people to leave a good 2 hours because I want spaciousness for at least 90 minutes of work together. But the work begins when the two souls have connected and made an agreement. I'll start getting flashes of information like, oh, what's going on with their low back, or what's happening with their digestion, or oh man, there's like some serious grief going on here, or whatever it is. Things start to unfold. And then that completion for me is when the work has become complete, I give them back to God. I'm not going to carry around the things that they're working on. And this is the elevation of the empath. This is the upgrade for the empath that we no longer live in being tossed about by the currents and the ups and downs of what's going on collectively. That is a very disempowered state to be in. You're not that effective. You're certainly not going to crush your goals when you're able to be thrown about by if someone's up or if they're down, or if they're going through something. This is the way forward for the empath to have more strategic control over how their life is going. And it does require all the things that we've worked on up until this point in the mentorship program, all those types of spiritual hygiene continue. We don't stop now doing any of the work that we've done. We're just adding. We're adding to our toolbox. We're adding skill sets, knowledge, know how, talents, techniques, abilities on top of what we began with. But you don't leave behind any of the things that we started on. Meditation is a must every day. Movement is a must every day. I get to go teach my Qigong class today, and I'm so excited to do that. So excited because that's me harnessing my own energy, is all that is. And I can't wait. So I think those are all the things. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, okay. This is how this weaves together the Qigong with the Reiki energy healing that we focus on today. What is Tibetan spiritual practice except consistent intention? I was talking last night in the Beyond Reiki class that I used to be rebellious about like the symbols that they were like, do this symbol. Okay. Why was I rebellious about like, I'm going to make my own symbol? I wouldn't do it. I didn't have enough expertise, technique, and know how to make my own symbol. Now I do. Somebody like Robert Edward Grant, who's a polymath who understands sacred geometry, he can. But when I was sitting in a place of, I don't want to do your symbol, it's just because I didn't understand. It's just sort of like using the Sanskrit words or using Hebrew prayer, using First Nation language. There's intention behind it. That's why it works. That's why it's more powerful than when I speak English words to you. It's the intention that has been consistently behind it all this time. So, what do we do? What do we do with that? We apply that consistent intention into our healing practices, and then we can transcend. We can feel really empowered and creative and artistic to still make it our own because we have the know-how and we have the technique and expertise behind us. That's how I want you to use Reiki. Not a stopping point, a launching pad into the new earth. Not, okay, here's the history of Reiki, which you can now educate yourself with online. You can educate yourself with in the PDF handbooks that I'm giving you. But in your Reiki level 1 handbook, we start off Mikao Usui of Kyoto, Japan, rediscovered Reiki near the end of the 19th century. Rediscovered. He named the energy work Reiki, which translates spirit energy. It has often been translated into universal life energy, and Reiki has its foundations in Buddhism, Qigong, and Shintoism, which Shintoism is straight up shamanism. Okay. It's just shamanism in that part of the world. You will see the threads and the energy currents that weave together from every ancient society, that shamanism is just a spiritual way of living. It's right relationship, is what it is. It's so simple. It's so basic. It's not complex. It was made to be something bad when small groups wanted to control the masses. That's all. So when you awaken to your own shamanic potential, you are just awakening to your birthright and how God has created you to be. It's not like I'm special. I'm more than somebody else because I call myself shaman. And in the Women of Lemuria book, you will find the kahuna in there. She explains why she refers to herself as kahuna now, so that other people understand this empowerment. And they don't misunderstand that, like, oh, only some people can be kahuna, medicine people. No, you are the medicine person of your life. You are the shaman of your life if you so choose to be. Dr. Yusui was born in August of 1865 in southern Japan in the village of Yago. He married Sadako Suzuki and they had two children together. He was a normal dude, okay? He's referred to as doctor, but it was only because he had a dojo and he could heal people. He was not a physician of that time. He died on March 9th, 1926, and he was buried at a Buddhist temple in the Tokyo suburbs. He often traveled to a Buddhist temple on Mount Kurama in northern Kyoto. The Kurama temple was established in 770 CE and was part of the Mikoho set, which had roots in Tibetan Buddhism. The basic philosophy of this temple was universal life force energy is the source of all creation. This energy manifests in three ways: love, light, and power. In this particular healing tradition, the moon is associated with love, the sun is associated with light, and the earth is associated with power. Once, while he was standing under the waterfall near this temple, he had a satori. A satori is a sudden understanding, like an aha moment. During a 21-day fast, he experienced the Reiki power. So just like when Jesus was fasting in the wilderness, lots of times you'll see two things come together. People they eliminate the distractions of the body needing to eat and deal with physical matter and digest food. So they go into a spiritual fasting state and they go into nature. Those two things can bring on a satori, because one of the things I was understanding about him, just like my first mentor in energy healing, Dr. Randolph Stone, who founded polarity therapy, which we'll get into. We'll be doing a lot about polarity therapy too. Dr. Stone and Mikao Usui have something in common. They just got their vessel clear enough that they could remember how energy works. That's all we're doing here. That's all we're doing. So when people want to assign like a greater importance to Mikao Usui or Randolph Stone, there's no need to do that. You have it. You have all the power. You just have to do all the things to clean your vessel, cultivate the energy in it, empower it, really, really take care of it. Like me with the natural fiber clothing, it took me a lot of care and consideration and intention and effort to do that, to clean out the toxic chemicals out of my closet. Because I had, especially in the exercise wear, yoga wear department, I had a lot of them. And some of them I really like. And another place that I noticed, like I haven't done it, is like in fancy go out dresses. Like, say it's a New Year's Eve, you want to go out. There's a lot of vibration lowering chemicals in those kind of dresses too. But everything comes in a phase, like everything comes in these gradual small changes over long periods of time, which is why you're being coached by me through this 2-year process where we're going to go into the new energy of 2027 as new humans. We're going to go into the new earth energy by 2027 if you hang with me and you allow me to mentor you all along, you being the ascended master in training. So we're just going to stop with that because I wanted to give you like the background on he came up with like all the hand positions, the structure around how he went and taught the Reiki energy healing. And you can think, I mean, for early 1900s, this was a big deal because everything had been really shrouded and veiled. And here he was like bringing the light back in, just like Dr. Stone with polarity. Dr. Stone went to India because Dr. Stone is from Austria, but it was like right around the same time on planet Earth that he spent a lot of time in India. And he was like, hey, this is how the body heals. This is how we feel good and empower ourselves. So let's do this. We're going to continue to delve into the history of Reiki, but I'm going to always weave in things that are relevant for you to continue to fortify yourself and cultivate your vessel. How do you find yourself dealing with the scenarios, situations, and people in your life as an empath? Do you feel like you're elevating above that old, like, oh no, my frequency is dipping, like I'm going way down because somebody around me is going through something and I want to help them? Last night on the call, I had everyone write down, why were you interested in Reiki in the first place? And that's a really good why for you to bring into why are you going to do this to your 2-year mentorship with me? What are we doing? Why would you spend your time like this? I want this time you spend with me to be so maximized for you to get the most out of this possible. I'm excited. I'm excited for where we're going with this. And most of all, I'm excited for the elevation of the empath, for you to use all these like superhero abilities you've had to a fuller extent because we're not allowing our frequency and our vibration to like dip around depending on what's going on with the collective or depending on what's going on with our family. Does that feel cold to you? Does that feel non-compassionate to you? It might feel different. But if you continue to tend to your vessel, get off here right now, do your Qigong exercises, hold a ball of energy near your Dantian, do it until you get hot. Do it until you start to feel that earth energy course up through you. Take that brightness and that love that you can generate and cultivate and resource inside of you. Make yourself well resourced for today. And then go share that love and that light. And all that's going to do is infuse you with more energy. It's not going to take you down. It's not going to dip you down. We're going up, 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 up. And I hope that you will. This next thing I'm going to say is time sensitive. This YouTube about what happened with the Schumann frequency. And if you want to understand the Schumann resonance of the earth, the frequency of the earth and how it, I don't want to say messes with us. Like that sounds nice. How it's totally related to our minds and our emotions and our mental capacity and our ability to astral travel and do things with our brain that are beyond. Watch this YouTube video. I love you all, and I wish you the most fantastic, magical day.